Hi everyone, our journal page, and I've picked some dark colors, acrylic paints. I've got some dark blue, indigo, deep green, and oxide green that I just want to put on my page. This is my one of my journals. It's a sketchbook, so this is just a sketch paper, and I'm just going to put some of the paints here and going to mix them with a baby wipe on my page. Don't really care where everything goes, and I want to blend them together just to have a first layer of coverage in the background. And it really doesn't matter the exact shade that I picked. I'm just going with dark right now, and I'm gonna change in between and let them blend. As you can see, most of it is gonna get covered. I'm planning on stenciling on top of it, so this is just the first layer and it really doesn't matter. Of course, I've picked colors that will work together, but otherwise you can really pick whatever you want for this kind of project. I'm going to cover the whole thing like this. And as you can see, it's quite random how I put the colors on my page. Just trying to use the baby wipe without me getting covered with lots and lots of paint. So I'm going to keep at it, just putting down paint, and I'll be back. Okay, so this first layer is done and it's dry, and I was already going to start with the stenciling on top, and then I decided that I want to add some other color here, just in little details, because it will get covered and I want another color to pick through. So I've picked some magenta and I'm gonna put it here. Now it's I only want a hint of it in the background. I've got this, well, if I can call it a stamp, it's just this plastic thingy for washers or whatever. You can buy a whole bunch of them in all kinds of sizes in hardware stores, and I just glued it to a piece of foam, and I'm using it as a stamp. So I'm just going to stamp this randomly on my page, and I'm hoping that it will, in several places, will pick through after I'm gonna stencil. And it just needs to be a hint of it. It doesn't need to overwhelm the page. As you can see, I'm stamping more than once with this. It doesn't have to be a fine print, a fine mark, just having fun with it in the background, and whatever will be will be. And I've got another circle. This is just, I think there was some kind of adhesive tape around it, so I'm just again gonna stamp it here randomly. Yeah, I think this is it. Enough. And of course I'm covered with acrylic paint. So now I want to stencil on top of it or mask, and I will explain it. I've got this, and of course first thing you say it's a stencil, but it's a mask. When your shape is covered and not a hollow, then it's a mask, because it covers whatever is on top of it. And so these are masks. The image or the shape or whatever is like this, and if it was reversed then it would be a stencil. So I'm going to use this, and not quite sure, I've made also, this is just plain acetate, and I've cut out a circle, so if I want to do this, all the other background won't be covered. So I'm thinking of putting them again randomly on this page. Let's see. Now it doesn't have to be a mask, and you don't have to do a stencil. I also thought, when I thought about making this page, I thought about stamping lots and lots of leaves, or stenciling lots of leaves. A lot of ways to go about something. It doesn't have to be with the exact stencil or mask that I have, so it's really up to you and what you have. So I'm gonna start with one of them, and I don't even care that some of the paint here is still wet. I'm just laying it here like this, putting this so I can work without going out of this circle. And I'm going to take some acrylic paint. I've got here what does it say? Bead blue. It's very light blue. And I've got another one, this one, ice blue. I don't know, they look almost the same. I'm putting them here. And I've got another one, hydrogena blue. So I'm going to play with them, and just taking some makeup sponge, taking out the piece that has dried paint, and just going to start. Now I'm taking a little bit of the acrylic paint, dabbing it so I won't have too much excess, and I'm just starting. Let's see, it's in place, dabbing lightly so there won't be any spillage. And I haven't waited for the magenta to dry, because I figured maybe if it's still wet, then I will get some mixing with all this light blue, and maybe then I will have even more interesting. Oops, moved, never mind, it's not that important. So I'm just switching between the colors here, just so to make it more interesting and not a complete flat one color, but it really doesn't matter, and don't know how much of it you can see. the variation in the color. They are really close in color. And here I've picked a little bit magenta, so as I said, maybe it would be more interesting like that. And I'm going over areas that I think need more coverage, but otherwise just continuing dabbing it. And I'm thinking I'm going to lift it in a minute, and I'm thinking that just maybe I need to add a little bit more white to this. Maybe not, maybe I'll leave it like this, we'll see. So I'm moving on to another of the masks. I think I will use this one here. We'll see. It's not really planned. I had some kind of a vague idea and I'm just going with it, and we'll see what happens. So as you can see, the magenta is picking in several places, so I do have something interesting going on, and I'm going to keep at it and do the same thing here. And I'll probably pick another one of these masks to go on. I don't know which one, maybe this one, we'll see, to put here, and then I'll continue. So I'll be back. Okay, so I finished doing this with the mask, and I still want a cover for these areas. The plan was that the dark colors will only peek through and stay in the back, so that's what I'm going to do. I want to cover the rest. I've got some stamps I've made from craft foam. They are a thick craft foam of 5 millimeters thick, and I made the indentation with soldering iron. So what I'm thinking is that I'm just gonna put some of the paint I've got here that I've used for the masks, and just stamp it randomly. And yes, I'm going on top of some of the masks like so, switching. Whatever will be will be. I hope it will be nice, don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so that's how I'm covering the page. So what I will have left would be the lighter colors and the back, and the dark colors in the back. I'm trying to do this and put no got stuck. I don't want too much paint on the stamps. Again, like the stenciling, I don't want spillage, so trying to be gentle with it. Okay, so I need more paint here, and I'm going to continue just stamping all the dark background, and then I'll come back. Finished with the background. I am loving it. I'm this close to just leaving it be, but I've made all this to be a home for this blue jay. Watch the birdie, and I really want to continue with it, although I really like this as is. So I wanted to make this blue jay a home, and I want it to stand out as my focal point on my page, and I've got lots and lots of details. So what I'm going to do is make some kind of another circle like this ones, and I just went through all my stashes and to find some either painty paper, scrapbook paper that will fit for this, and I didn't quite find something that I liked, but what I did find is this hideous pattern. I like the pattern, I don't like what's going on here in terms of the colors, so I'm going to try and change it. I'm taking a baby wipe and I'm going to add first of all magenta to this page like this very quickly. I just want to bring again the magenta I've got in the back, a hint of it into the front. So I've got this magenta, and I'm thinking I am taking a little bit of, again, one of the lighter colors, the blue light color, and again just applying it gently to tone everything down like so. Picking one of the masks, and now I want some white. I want it to stand out, so, and I'm going to use, I thought about using acrylic paint, but now I'm thinking gesso. It has a more chalky finish, and also more, you get a better coverage with gesso. So putting a little bit of gesso here, and I'm going to take another sponge. I want a clean one, so I don't have, this time I don't want mixing, and I don't want traces of other colors, so I need a clean sponge. Okay, got one. So once again, dabbing into it, getting rid of excess so I won't have spillage, and now I'm just going over, and basically what I'm doing here is the same thing I've done in the background. I'm only leaving the magenta in very small areas. That's the mask here. It's only going to pick, it's not going to be the dominant color. And once I'm done, I'm going to cut the circle, glue the birdie, and then glue it to the page. So I'm keeping at it, and I want a complete, almost complete coverage of the white. So as I said, the magenta won't be the dominant color. It only needs to pick out. And although I'm covering most of it, I still get a little bit a hint of the pattern in the back. That's why I've picked this pattern paper, this hideous pattern paper. So you can always, if you have hideous paper in your pack, you can always still use them. And if not, there is always gesso. Cover everything up and start all over again. So I'm going to continue doing this. I just moved it because it was on the fold of the journal. Let's see. Yeah, I like it. So now I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to use nail scissors. That's my biggest tip for you. Never try to cut something round with straight scissors. There are nail scissors, they have a curve, and it's easier and smoother than trying to do it with the regular scissors. So I'm cutting, but it's still wet because I don't have any patience. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm going to let this dry and I'll be back. I'm back. So I've got this. I just want to go around it and just frame it. So I'm taking this ink pad Memento Nautical Blue and some makeup sponge, and I'm just going to go around just to frame it and make it a little bit more, I don't know, contained. I don't have another word for it. And I'm not gentle about it, as you can see. I'm going inside and I'm not trying to be very precise about it. And a little bit more here. As I said, nothing precise about it, just going in and adding a little bit more. Okay, so let's see, I think it's going here. So it's a really thin paper, so I'm just gonna use some glue stick. Don't think I need anything more than that, but I do put a generous amount of it and sticking it here, also here on the fold. And now the birdie, my blue jay. I don't remember where I printed it. It's either freepik.com or pixabay.com. Basically, it doesn't matter anything. You just do some search of free printables, and there are so many websites with lots and lots of stuff to print. Yeah, got my blue jay. Okay, so now I just want I had a saying that I wanted here. Now I need to look for it because I've got a mess on my table, desk, whatever. I'm messy when I work, and I'll be back. And I'm back. I found it, glued it down, and I went around the edges again with the same I've inked around with the same blue nautical blue Memento ink pad, and it says and into the forest I go to lose my mind and find my soul. I don't know why it spoke to me, so that's what went on this page, and this page is finished. I'm in love with it. I hope you liked it and you'll do something like it and play with the dark and light colors, what is showing through, what is hidden with a mask. So thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving me comments down below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.